So you're 20 and you're married.
Yes.
So you are a certain kind of person, right? You have certain kind of philosophy. You are this being. There is this being inside you, which has told you that this is the right thing for you, and
Yes,
you have chosen
exactly.
it. Maybe you are at peace with it. So, point is that you have to be a certain kind of person, right, to do certain things.
Exactly.
So, how does that happen to girls? Meaning, how are you either attracted to a physically attractive guy, or a nerdy guy, or somebody else? Do you think that's dependent on where you're brought up, what you watch, what you see, and your heroes and the movies? And is that how
Yeah.
it is in America also?
I think so. I think so for sure. I definitely think like the movies and the media and like religion and just your family, the way you were brought up, definitely has something to do with the decisions that you make, like regarding marriage and everything.
Right.
But for me, I think I just
Sorry, I have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's okay. For me, I feel like I have a really different view on marriage. Because like a lot of people, like I said, like with religion and movies and everything, it kind of gives you this view of like you need to have a career, you need to have your own house, and you need to be like this person like in your 30s, maybe 40s, and then you can get married. But
It's a conditioning, like the whole thing. It's like built
is.
up, and that
It
hey, this is what it
definitely
is.
And it's the way that I definitely think your parents have a lot to do with it. Like
Right.
my parents, my mom especially, she was like, yeah, I got married to your dad because like he wanted to get married to me and we already had kids, so I figured like that's the right thing to do. And she was like, marriage just like isn't that important to me. Like if you think about it, you're just like signing a piece of paper with someone. And I mean, yes, it's a big commitment and it's a big thing. But I don't think it has to be this big whole ordeal where it's like, oh, like I'm only 20 years old, I can't be married. Like I feel like I've been very mature my entire life for my age, and I've put a lot of thought into my decisions. It's not like I'm just making reckless decisions and doing crazy things. I've been married for a year already. So I don't know, I think definitely the way your parents act about marriage and relationships definitely will stick with you for life. Religion, the area.
That's true. I can testify for that.
Yeah, for sure.
My parents were so weird. Meaning me, I like ultra conservative Indian God kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
know, which I had to get out of.
Yeah, so that definitely has a big part of it, and then, or has to do with a big part of it. And then I think the media as well. Just like I said again, seeing all of these girls that are like posting pictures of themselves or whatever, and they're all like in their mid to late 20s or whatever, and they're not married. They're just like going having a ton of boyfriends or whatever, which is fine. Like all of that is fine too. And I think whatever you choose to do in your life, like that's
There will be consequences. That's all. That's all.
there will be, but they'll also, you can always find good out of every situation.
Yeah.
And it's your life.
That's
and
true.
No one else can make your decisions for you. You
Exactly.
can't make
It's
your
how you look at it
decisions.
in the end, right?
Yeah, you can't make decisions for anyone else. It's all about what makes you happy and what you feel is right. I don't think that there should be any rules regarding relationships and marriage and the timelines of all of that stuff. I think it's all what you think is right and when you think it's right.
But then meaning if that's the case, then like girls get married or guys get married to wrong kind of people, and they have babies, and then there's all this unhappiness and the baggage. And look at the statistics now, like 70% of kids are born in separated families and things like that. So these kind of things do have an influence on how people turn out, and then the society turns out.
Yeah.
So do you think it's okay that people do whatever they want? Meaning we still need some boundaries. Meaning if everybody started doing whatever they want, then it would be a crazy world.
Like
Don't
regarding
you think?
relationships? You're
Yeah,
talking
meaning in general that applies to everything. But I think, don't you think that should apply to relationships also?
about? I don't know, honestly.
If we started doing all these other things, just let's forget relationships for a second. Everything we approach, life. We approach life the way we approach life. We usually have some method. We do a lot of calculation. We make sure things will be right. And if they don't go right, we make sure we do it really right next time. For example, in a business or your job or whatever. Why is it that in relationships we have so free to just break each other's heart and just just spread misery and just I can tell you
Yeah.
I've been through like trauma, and meaning, do you think that's okay? Like,
Um,
so girls can date as many as they want, as long as they are creating more of this unhappy people who will create more dating apps, which will really twist the whole dating scene, because if
Yeah.
you create such people, that's what happens. Meaning like Bill Gates. I did this, but meaning nerdy people come up with all these things and then they are unhappy at some point in their
Yeah.
life. It's a proven thing.
I mean, I see what you're saying, definitely. I think in the world, they're definitely, like, in our day-to-day basis, like, going to businesses, going to stores, like, buying things, all of that, like, there definitely should be some sort of regulations because that's pertaining to a community as a whole. Like, you have to
Exactly.
all work together, make sure everything is peaceful, everything's done correctly, and that everyone can be comfortable and happy. But when it comes to relationships, I totally see what you're saying. Like, people make dumb decisions. They go from one guy to another.
Whatever
one
they
girl to
want. It seems
another.
like there's no moral or any
Yeah.
rule applicable, and girls especially. So now, let me ask you another question. Do you think, especially in this day and age where girls get like 100 times or 200 times or in fact a million times more attention than an average guy would, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in that kind of atmosphere, where she can easily kick a guy out in a second,
I mean, I think, okay, so going back to the regulations on the relationship real quick, I feel like I don't really think there necessarily should be any, like, set in stone regulations on a relationship because in my eyes, like, that's the only part of yourself that really is, like, yourself. Like, you go to your job, you have rules you need to follow. You go to school, you have rules you need to follow. You go,
That's such
you
a good point.
drive, you
Yeah.
have rules you need to follow, and they need to be there, obviously. But when it comes to a relationship, like, that is purely you and your feelings and your happiness. But I do think girls take advantage of guys, especially now in this day and
Right.
age, for a lot of reasons. But I definitely do think that guys do the same thing to girls in a lot of ways too when it comes to a relationship. Like,
Do you think it's only like the top 10% of the males who do that? Meaning, so now my question is that most girls, it seems like 80. Do you agree that 80% of the women out there want only the top 10% of the men, and these 10% tend to be the assholes who treat these women certain way? In fact, studies have shown that 80% of the normal men, not the alpha men, so to speak, the top 10%. Are actually very nice. They have been conditioned by society to be very nice to women, give in to all their needs, do what they are told to, be nice, polite, and all those things. Yet they don't get girls. But these top 10 guys who are assholes, right?
yeah.
Seem they attract these girls because they don't view them the same way. Meaning they don't give their time to these girls the same way these other
Exactly.
guys do, and they are attracted to that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's always kind of been a little bit confusing for me. I definitely have been in a relationship or two with one of those top
Right,
10%
right.
guys. I honestly, like, I feel like the younger girls, Rolo, get down. Oh, that's not Rolo, that's not my I'm sorry. So, what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like the younger girls,
What's up, buddy?
younger women
It's
will
okay.
definitely go for that top 10% at some point, but I feel like the older you get as a woman, the more you start to see, like,
Right,
oh,
right, right.
that 10% is really, like, the bottom 10%.
Yeah.
I don't want them, and then I feel like it's all kind of, everything in a relationship, it's,
That's so awesome that you said that just now.
like,
That really is the top, like, bottom percent. Maybe some of them are fine, but really most
but
of them
the
are bottom.
majority are going to be bottom at
They're
the
just
end.
like monkeys, according to me, who are like filled with testosterone. Anybody can do that. Yeah, go fill your life up with testosterone store and
Exactly,
act
yeah.
like you're alpha. What the fuck is even alpha meaning, according to
Exactly.
me? You can call anything, and then make others feel bad about it, right? Meaning-
And that's, I feel like, exactly what's happening with a lot of things, especially regarding relationships today. But yeah, I think everything in a relationship, like, there's going to be really good times, there's going to be really bad times, it's going to suck sometimes, it's going to be great other times. And I feel like every part of a relationship is just a learning experience, honestly. And once you feel like you're at a point where you're like, wow, I can recognize these actions and these words as being bad or these as being good, and you can kind of, like, you put yourself in the right path over time with a relationship, but you have to go through those hardships in a relationship in order to get to the place that you want to be.
Right.
And it sucks, it definitely sucks, but in the end, you
And that's why.
you have to go through the hardships in order to find happiness.
So let me tell you about India, right? Meaning where I come from, it's very conservative. Meaning we've had this I don't know how much you know about India, but India has a very long history, and we have a very strong religion where there were some laws and they misinterpreted or whatever, but very strict, meaning sex is like a very strict thing in India, meaning it's like you don't know it when you're 16. I didn't know what is sex.
Yeah.
Right? I went through entire college, and meaning you're just not supposed to even look here and there. And you don't have all this experience, obviously you don't date, meaning you can say that it's kind of repressive society in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Americans date, like as soon as you're 14 or
Exactly.
15 you
Yeah,
date, you're
middle
allowed to
school,
express
elementary
those
school.
hormones, you
Yeah,
have sex.
exactly.
Indian guys, no sex. Girls also, most of them. Now it's changing in India, definitely. India is also very Americanized.
Okay.
Every country is wannabe America in some sense, but let's not talk
Don't
about
really
that
know-
topic.
Don't really know why. but-
Yeah, it's the marketing.
Yeah.
It's the cool that you want to be cool, and you want to be the
Exactly.
clubs, beach and yachts, and you
Yeah.
know, so it's a cool, everybody wants to be
The
cool.
American dream.
Yeah,
right?
everybody thinks that's happiness. So
Yeah,
so
it's
America
not
is
that.
the poster boy for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, but my point was that marriages work in India. My parents are married for as old I am, in 35 years, and that's how most of the marriages, when I look around myself, are like my friends' marriages, friends' parents or anyone back in the day, their marriages work. We have very solid foundation. They support their parents, kids. Their kids are their life. They never spend money. They don't even buy shit for themselves. They save everything, so meaning, what I'm saying is, do you think meaning they live in more like rules, so to speak, straight? Do you think that's okay, or do you think meaning because it's working,
I mean,
or do
I
you think they're
definitely-
unhappy and making it work?
I don't necessarily think that they're unhappy and like putting a mask on and just making it work. I definitely think a lot of them probably are happy and love their lives and their kids and their
Compared to
husband or
people
whatever.
here, you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Where
But-
there's a lot more broken families and like
Yeah, there's
unhappiness. Like I see it everywhere. Like
everyone I know has divorced parents.
Exactly.
My parents are divorced.
Exactly.
Like everyone.
exactly.
And I mean, yeah, I think maybe the regulations and all of like the rules and stuff that you guys follow over in India, like maybe it does make for a happier marriage and relationship. But I also want to just point out that I don't think marriage is like the whole goal of life. Like
Yeah.
human beings, like everything else on this planet, we're put here to reproduce and
Yes.
continue the lineage and everything. But at the same time, I feel like we're living in a time, especially here and now, that you don't need to be with a man, you don't need to be with a woman. Like you can actually be by yourself now
Right,
for
right,
your
right,
whole
right.
life if you want to be, and you can be very successful and very happy. And some people, honestly, here are a lot happier just being alone and not being with someone.
Right.
People
I
are-
hear that a lot now too.
Yeah, I feel like the last 10 years.
Because do you
especially,
think
it's-
that's because relationships have become so bad that now people are saying this? Meaning,
honestly could
all
be.
this while in the history of humans, people used to marry.
Yeah.
Like for foreseeable history,
And very early too, like very young.
Exactly. And now suddenly we want to be alone. Like I have friends who are 37, 36 and girls.
They just don't want.
They
to
just are like saying that I'm so happy being alone. And you can sense that, meaning you can sense that they do want what they imagined in the perfect guy,
Yeah.
right? But you can sense the happiness they have being alone also.
I think, okay, so going back to what you said about how you're like rebellious and everything. So I feel like in India, the picture basically that they're painting for you is like no sex, no relationships, nothing. And then you get married, you have kids, and then it's that for the rest of your lives. So people are happy with that, and
They were at
it
least.
works out
Yes.
for them. But here, we don't have, like, our picture is different.
Right.
Like, you have to be like think about social media. You see
Yeah.
so many pictures of people like going out with their boyfriend or their girlfriend and doing all these things, getting
Yeah.
dressed up nice, and there's just like expectations that are so unrealistic that almost nobody can ever meet them. And
Right.
then it causes you to be upset and to like
Exactly.
break down and to just constantly go looking for that thing that's going to make you look picture perfect, but it's not
Not
ever
there.
going to happen. And I feel like that definitely is.
It's a
part
wild
of
goose
why-
chase. It's like created in the air. It's like you're the
It
castle in the
is.
air. You keep chasing it, and
Yeah, and I feel like the people here that don't that are better alone and who don't want a relationship, I feel like they're the ones that are like rebelling a little bit here, and
Right.
it makes them happy that they aren't conforming to the standards of society and what people expect from all of us, basically. I think it's important to know how to be alone in general too.
Right.